This podcast is rated IS for incredibly silly and definitely contains bad words, bad jokes, and other bad content that should not be heard by anyone, least of all children. Or maybe it should be. We don't know. We're still not their parents. You're listening to the Starforge podcast with Scya and Mal, two nerdy humans who still have a lot to say about Star Wars: The Old Republic and all its features. Rest assured, the podcast is, as always, working as intended. This is episode 39. Let's listen. The music of Star Wars: The Old Republic. Hello, SWTOR players. I am the Mal.
And I'm Scya.
And we're so glad to be back with you today because we actually came up with something to talk about that we actually had to split up into 2 episodes because we realized that, well, we could just go on and on about this stuff.
Right, it's such a wonderful topic. We're going to be talking about sound and music for the next couple of episodes, something that I know is dear to your guys' heart as well.
The hills are alive with sound effects and music. Can I tell you something?
I would love to hear your something. What's up?
One of my login rewards this week was a bag of supplementary materials. And when I opened it up, inside that bag was one of every one of those white supplementary crafting materials. You know the ones that cost like 10 credits?
Yes.
For one of them?
Yes, I do.
The fuck kind of reward is that for logging in?
Listen, Mal, have you ever watched a TV show that wasn't produced in the last 10 years? There's this thing called a filler episode, Mal. It's the thing that you have to endure to get to the good stuff. You can't simply open up a box that was given to you for doing nothing and expect high risk, high rewards.
The reward was bad and they should feel bad. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, definitely. Some of those rewards for the daily boxes are really not so hot. But I think that's just the idea is here's something garbage to keep you logging in until you get to the good stuff.
I guess, but I'm a subscriber. Ugh. Think of something better.
You still gotta work for your rewards, and you get a bonus reward for being a subscriber. That one's usually pretty decent.
You don't even have to work. All you do is log in. You press 2 buttons. You don't have to do any work.
You have to press 2?
Yeah.
You gotta automate your workflow, girl. Let's go. Let's go on to the rest of this episode where we're gonna talk about
disappointing other people while flying solo. This week we are going to disappoint people musically while they're flying solo. I'm really excited about this topic.
I know. I didn't realize we were going to be singing. I didn't quite sign up for this, but I signed up for this musical appreciation of the Star Wars: The Old Republic musical soundtrack, and that's what we're going to be looking at today.
So, the music in the game, partially new and made purely for this game. Some of it movie music that we know and love, and some music from that thing you love to tease me about that I've never played, Knights of the Old Republic.
If you want to listen to these yourself outside of the game, the Star Wars: The Old Republic official YouTube channel has an official playlist that has 82 tracks, including many of the newest ones. This isn't even all the tracks in the game. We found throughout the game's files, there's a whole bunch more, but these are kind of the most well-known ones. There's lots of different types of music in the game. Some are actual themes and tracks, what you traditionally consider music, but there's also lots of little stingers. So these are just short little riffs that you might hear in the background to signify something cool happening or to signify the end of a theme.
Right. So I took a perusal of this YouTube list. It's really great. We will include it in the show notes, or I guess, you could look it up yourselves to find it. It has, all the planetary stuff, all that sort of thing. So
I do know when people think of the music of Star Wars: The Old Republic, probably one of the first things that comes to mind is the theme music when you log into the game for the first time. So how does that one go, Mel?
Bum, ba-da-da, 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 na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Na 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 na. Don't sue me.
No. Not the official Star Wars song, Mal. Not the one when you open up the movies. The one when you start
That's when it plays the cutscene.
a new character.
Oh, a new character.
Or you go to the character select screen.
I'm busy fixing my face in that screen. But when you start the story, that's when you get the good song.
Yes. Yes.
Anyway, so you are into the character creator music.
Dun 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 dun. You know, when you go to pick your character. That one.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. That's the one that shows up when you go to your character creator, and this is a longtime staple of music in the game. But when Knights of the Fallen Empire, the expansion hit, we got a whole new theme music. At the surface, this sounds very exciting, but for whatever reason, this new interesting set of music was cranked up to about 5,000 when it comes to volume. Do you remember that?
Not mixed well.
I don't know why. It was a pretty decent set of music. It was very thematic to the new expansion that had come out, fit in really well, but oh my gosh, I was so excited. I saw a post on the PTS, the public test forums for the one of the more recent expansions, and someone said, "Can we get the old theme music back?" And one of the developers replied and was like, "Yeah, I just added it in right now."
Oh my goodness. So they took it away?
They took it away and they brought it back. And so the theme music that we have now is actually the same theme music that we've had since the launch of the game.
Wow. I mean, since the launch of 7.0, they probably should have changed it to bum, 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 bum.
Oh, get out of here. Oh, get out of
ba-dum.
here. So we are going to be talking about music in both a group and a solo setting today because different music plays depending on what type of content that you play. So I really, really like hearing high dramatic music when I jump into operations. It really makes me feel more invested in the fight. I've played operations sometimes with the sound off, like I just want to focus or I don't really care about it that second, and it makes a huge difference in the way that I interact with the heights. So Mal, I did have an interesting question for you. I found out, especially by watching different streamers, that some people turn that music off and usually replace it with their own favorite music. Do you listen to the music in game? Do you turn it off or do you listen to your own?
So when I'm raiding, I find it's really noisy. And the most important thing for me to listen to in a fight is the voice cues. So a lot of times I have the in-game music down pretty low. And I adjust the voice a little bit, but mostly I'm listening for those cues. So I never ever turn the sound off.
You need it, yeah.
Because I'm listening for voice cues and I'm listening for people calling things out in Discord. Unless we're doing an op we've done before and we're just cruising and I'm chilling, then I'm playing music in the background.
Yeah, exactly. When you're cruising and
Yeah.
you're chilling, that's when you want your little hip hop beats to heroics and dailies too, right?
I know I need my pump up music, The biggest downside sometimes of stage acting is people they play music backstage and they're like, "Oh, let's get all pumped up." And then they play show tunes. And I'm like,
Pump me up.
"Oof. All right. No offense to anybody who loves show tunes and that's your pump up music. That is not Mal's getting ready to do stuff. Pump up music.
What is your getting ready to do stuff music? For me, it's like 80s rock.
So right before I would go on stage, I would have, oh, Jesus Christ, I had an iPod Nano, one of those itsy bitsy little ones. It was like the size of a 50-cent piece. Oh, Christ, that's another old reference.
Right.
Anyway, a tiny little thing. It doesn't even have a screen, right? And before I went on stage, I would have it with me and it would play Feel Good Hit of the Summer by Queens of the Stone Age.
And that would pump you up?
Look it up.
And that would be playing in the background of every operation for you. Is that what you're telling me?
I play a lot of stuff like that during operations. Not always. Sometimes I, take it down a little bit and just listen to whatever.
So speaking of taking it down a notch, so in the original launch of the game, they had an actual orchestra and everything like that. It was live music. It was, we'll talk a little bit more about it afterwards, but when they started releasing the expansions, they started using synthesized sound versus the strong physical orchestra that was done by Skywalker Sound. And some of the newer music from the newer expansions actually has both a synthesized version and an orchestral version. For example, if you check out that YouTube playlist, you can actually find one of my favorite tracks, The Clairvoyance of Aaron Lanier. There's both a normal version and a live version on the channel. So what do you think of the music over the years? Like I know Shadow of Revan, the music is very like recognizable. It's got those little synthesized horns and all the crazy cool stuff.
Yeah, I really like the older orchestral stuff better. Because as we were talking about this, I was revisiting planets and I went to Yavin and I thought it
Yes.
sounds like slightly odd
Sounds like
here.
it came out of Game
I
Boy.
just, yeah, I don't, you know how I feel. You know how I feel about stuff versus digitally created stuff, which is interesting because we're going to talk about that later when we talk about our podcast music. But to me, tangible things, tangible instruments will always be better than synthetic stuff. And you see it a lot nowadays because, on one hand, it's really great. If you don't have a whole orchestra, you can make one on your own with your apps and your garage band and whatever you have. But I mean, I've been to at least one concert. I went to an Eve 6 concert and the two openers, it was one person and they were like, hang on, I just got to set up my thing. And they took out a damn MacBook and the MacBook played like all the other parts. And I was like, is this the future? Because this kind of blows, in my opinion.
The good news for Mal, who doesn't like the sound of the future, she may like it more and more over time, especially in the newest expansion. I'm pretty sure it is mostly still synthetic music. I'm not entirely sure. But the sound libraries that online composers can use to create music are getting better and better every year. So we're going to hear less and less of that MIDI stuff and more of these incredibly expensive sound libraries where the composer can get a lot closer to what a genuine orchestra will sound like.
Do you ever listen to music? Do you have your 80s whatever playing
Do
while
you
we're
ever
rating?
listen to music? I couldn't tell if that was a joke or not because I've said before that music is not really my thing. Like I listen to music, but I'm not like an appreciator of music. I don't though because we're always rating while I'm streaming and I don't want to use any copyrighted music or the whole thing gets muted and I can't laugh at what you guys said later on.
But in her head, she's just one big Rickroll. Never gonna give you up.
Never gonna let you down. And then,
Oh
no,
boy.
well, I do sing during the raids. I don't know if that counts.
Mhm.
I'll take songs that exist and then I'll supplement them with words from our raid, like telling people about the tactics and stuff like that. I don't think that counts though. What does count is our favorite musics in the game. So Matt, what are
Ooh.
some of your faves that are wait. I need to caveat it. Because some of the music in this game is from the movies. Some of it's from Knights of the Old Republic, the old game. And I don't care about your favorite Duel of the Fates. That's everybody's favorite. Mal, shame on you. Come on.
I never said that was my favorite. Thank you.
It's everybody's favorite. If it's not your favorite, you're broken.
No, it's not.
Oh, do you have a favorite Star Wars music?
I do. I really love the Princess Leia's theme. So,
Oh, yes. Okay, but what's your favorite in our game? That was specifically made for our game.
well, I have no idea because I never played, the Old Republic.
Oh, you wouldn't
So
know. You wouldn't know
I
which are
wouldn't
which.
know. So you tell me. Well, starting on the starter planets, okay, I love Korriban and Dromund Kaz because I love that while they're both the Empire, they are different. Because on Korriban, you really get that sense from the music that you are in the heart of everything Sith.
It starts like this. It goes,
Those ancient beings are there. You're drawing on your power. You're very Sith. But when you get to Dromund Kaz, you feel like you are at the heart of the Empire. Here come those trumpets. It's a subtle difference, but it's a big one.
right, you're only going one planet to one planet. They're not very far apart from each other, and they're not very different in terms of who is there.
Mm-hmm. I love Hoth. That's also a great one. It's a great planet. Hoth just spans the ages. You see it in the original movies, you see it in Empire Strikes Back, and now you're seeing it in Star Wars: The Old Republic. It's awesome.
And that one's made up of a bunch of quiet violins and little twinkly piano noises, right?
It is. It's very like sparkly. It's almost like you can hear the
The
snow
snow, yes,
on
yes,
Hoth.
yes.
Yes, and that is what is so brilliant about this music. You feel like you're there. That's what it's making you feel. Also, Voss. Those long, slow notes that stack on each other that creates a sense of eerie mysticism. Like there's things on this planet that are other. Not a Jedi, not a Sith, but other. And you've never seen them before.
And the Voss are really fantastic because they are one of the few things in this game that were created specifically for this game. The Voss did not exist in Star Wars lore at all before this point. Basically, the BioWare development team were like, let's create something new. And they had to create the lore, the culture, and the feel from scratch. So not only do we have the Voss, how they look, very visually different, the Voss, how they act and their culture very different, but they continue to cultivate that otherness with the music itself.
I don't understand why they've never made Voss a playable class. Like, they keep making these classes that got all this mess on their head,
No.
it doesn't look right. It looks terrible.
It's because they're too tall. They've literally said in the past, we can't have Wookiees because they're too tall. The Voss are like at least 2 heads above every average human.
Figure your shit out. I don't know what to tell you. I just come up with the ideas.
You'd have your head cut off for every cutscene.
That's fine.
Oh, maybe in the cutscenes they could just kneel down for every cutscene.
Just have them bend over us. Hello there, little person I'm talking to. Aren't you cute? I'm a Voss. Anyway, also, who doesn't love when you go back to the fleet that whoosh, and then the strings, and then the trumpet fanfare when you travel back to the fleet? That's so awesome.
There's such a variety of sounds in this game. Your next one is also very different than all the other ones you've talked about so far.
Oricon is so good. God, did they nail creepy, haunting? It's almost like you're in a big open echo chamber with Sith vibes bouncing off the walls back at you. And on the flip side, I also love Alderaan because it almost sounds like you've gone to the Star Wars Renaissance Festival.
Yes, do you know what the instrument is? It's got that little dulcimer or something. I don't know.
Is it like a harpsichord?
I don't know. I love it, though.
Dulcimer. I love it, and that's what gives it that very Renaissance, regal sound. It's just really,
and it's got like the horns. It starts sweeping into the horns, and you're like, oh, I'm in the mountains of Alderaan.
Right. Now I want you to say what you like because I read in the notes it's actually very different from what I like.
I know, I like it a lot. So my favorite, like all-time favorite Star Wars The Old Republic track is Balmorra the Forge. And it goes something like this. I could just go on like this for the next 6 hours. I love this track so much.
You've got stuff to be doing on Balmorra. Hurry up and do it. Let's go.
Another one that I really like for a completely opposite reason. Balmorra the Forest is my pump up music. That's what I want to hear going into every fight. I'm going to replace every sound file with Balmorra the Forge.
That's funny.
But Coruscant, the capital, is a really calming theme that I really like. I often use it in the background of my videos just because it's really nice when I'm talking over it. I feel like there's nothing too distracting and it's just very pretty piece of music for a very pretty kind of sunset colored planet. Doesn't fit well in like the sewers, you know? And it goes like this. Da-na-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na. It's that one that starts off like that. And then Justice the Night is what I chose for the theme song for my Academy series on YouTube because it really felt like an Old Republic song to me. If I had to pick like a theme song for the Old Republic, that is the one that I pick. It goes like it's kind of like the Star Wars theme. It's very familiar but different. And I actually found a very old interview with some of the composers, and the composer for this one was Gordy Hab, and he was told to start with Yoda's theme from the movies, and you can hear it when you go listen to Yoda's theme and you listen to Justice to the Night. You're like, oh yeah, and I was so excited because I found out Gordy Hab 12 years later from when they were working on that original soundtrack is still contributing to the game's music.
Aww.
He's a composer on almost every piece of recent music, including that favorite track I mentioned earlier, The Clairvoyance of Aaron Lanier. And he's on the titles for all of the new Manan music, too.
Oh, that's so awesome. The music in this game it's really good. Even the synthesized stuff, at least like it's setting a mood and a tone for the whole planet and everything that you're doing. It's really beautiful. A lot of really beautiful music in this game.
The tone of the planet. I think the music does set it a lot. For those of you who have had a chance to check out the new Manon daily areas and Manon storyline, you've got that lady like singing in the background like Do you know what I'm talking about? Right? Something like that. Like, that's another one of those things that helps create the atmosphere of that dome, of that underwater feeling, of that kind of little bit of mysticism combined with this is underwater, dude. You're in a giant dome underwater.
So we do a podcast together, but it didn't just exist. It wasn't just born. It didn't just fall out of our bodies, ready to go, all mixed with all the music. Let's talk about
If I had my way, it would. I didn't realize how much work going into this it would be.
So let's talk about, we knew we wanted to make a show. You approached me and I thought, well, we got to have like a theme song, right? We have to have music so that people know that this is us and that's what they're listening to. So who did I call?
I was just gonna find and download music from online, like purchase some pre-made ones.
No. And I was like, no. I'm going to call Mr. Mal, or Fender, as he is usually called when he games. He actually composed all the music for this show. He's so talented. Look out for him. He sneaks into Trash Point Tuesdays sometimes to look at my stupid and beautiful face. So, Scya, when we made this podcast, when I said he was going to make music for us, what were you expecting?
I had no expectations going in, but I had a lot of requests. Like I said, I would have just spent like 16 hours searching for what I felt was the perfect music from online that's already been used elsewhere, you know? But I think I told you something like I wanted it Star Wars. Oh, do you remember what I told you? I don't now. We're quite a ways into the podcast now.
We are, and it was a little vague, but I kind of had a good sense of what we wanted to do because we had to set the tone of the show. Is this going to be a serious show? You know, is this going to be an informational show? And we kind of decided, no, it's going to be a fun show. This show is going to be fun because there's lots of other great podcasts out there that they're very informative and they'll tell you all about your stats in the game and how to play. We're just having fun here.
We're just Trash Point Tuesdaying.
I sat down with Fender and then I had to relay all this to him. And that is the crazy part about music and composition is really all I can give him is
words.
Feelings.
That's
Feelings
it.
and what we're going for, you know? And then he sits down, you know, I was like Star Warsy, but fun. Old
Like,
Republic, not too serious. Yeah. So he sits down with this app called GarageBand, and he has his guitar and he has his bass. And if there are any other instruments he wants to add, he has to just do it in GarageBand. And then he composes it and he mixes it, and then he waits for our feedback. And it's so funny because both with music and acting, oftentimes you get notes that are not even real words, just feelings. So he gave us the first track, and I was like, it sounds too Final Fantasy. And luckily, we're both big players of Final Fantasy. And
he knew exactly what you meant. Yeah.
He knew exactly what I meant. I was like, it needs more, you know, less piano, less strings, more guitar, more drum, more this.
I think I had a similar request for the news segment. I was like, this first round, I don't want to make too many requests because Fender's being real nice and making for us as a gift. And I said, it sounds too much like RuneScape. Can you make it sound more like what plays when the news pops up on the TV? He was like, okay.
We did laugh at this because I listened to it too, and I was like, it sounds like the news to me. I was like, all right, we'll just cut the horns off the top, do this. And he made up something else. He's like, I mean, it's very similar to what I did. But Scya said, no, I love it. I actually reused the unused news. Reused the unused news music. That's a good tongue twister.
A plus.
Reused the unused news music. I reused it in a different segment. I forget what, but I did.
Good. Reuse, recycle, Mal. Don't waste Fender's talents. So we talked about how we could only give Fender our feelings and our thoughts. And when they were creating this Star Wars The Old Republic music, they did have a huge base of work to already take a look at. So they said for the Justice the Night theme, take a look at Yoda's theme and go from there. When you listen to the Star Wars The Old Republic music, I bet you for every single track, you can go back to something existing in Star Wars and say, oh, this is kind of similar, not exactly, but it gives me the same feelings of hope or of excitement or of peace that these other existing Star Wars tracks have. And it's even better probably now because they probably have an even bigger library of Star Wars musics to pull from. We have the whole sequel, prequel, whichever, the new ones movies, and we have like Rogue One, we have Solo, and we have even more video games like Fallen Order now too.
Star Wars, so much of it.
Star Wars!
Speaking of Star Wars, we mentioned earlier our Trash Point Tuesdays, and I think now it's a good time to take a look at the lovely music inside Hammer Station. Spacebar, please. Spacebar, please. Spacebar, please.
So, Mal, I've mentioned earlier that I'm not really a music appreciator. When I do listen to music, I will often pick a track and then beat it to absolute death. Like, Mr. Swtorista will leave for work. He'll see me listening to it and he'll come back and he'll say, like, did you just listen to this on repeat for 8 hours? And I'll be like, what? Sorry? I've been working this whole time. At Hammer Station, that's what people do with Hammer Station. Just beat it to death over and over.
That is why they call it Spammer Station.
But we did not spam it today.
We did not.
We actually played it.
We did. So, Scya, set the scene. We started on the Republic side. What's happening on the Republic side?
Once again, Satil Sean. And I say once again because we are covering all the Flashpoints as part of a Spacebar Please series that we'll be going through every week. You can go back and listen to Black Talon and Esley's if you want. Satil Sean is once again calling you. Nope.
Stop. If you do not want Hammer Station spoilers, if you do not want to know why Satil Sean was calling you, you should turn this off now.
She's like, call me up before you go.
Call me on the line. Call me anytime.
She really does. Her and General Garza never put that phone down. She is calling you up, and this time it's about a group called the Thevos Hegemony, which I could not pronounce for the longest time. It took me like 5 years.
Thevos Hegemony.
Hegemony, not hegemony.
Hegemony.
Who have somehow obtained a Republic battle station and are using it to conquer star systems.
Hold up. What now?
What?
They have a what?
Someone leave it unlocked with the keys inside? Hammer Station was apparently a project that was too destructive and it was ordered to be destroyed, but
See, so then I told her maybe we can just keep it for ourselves, but apparently some weapons should never be used. Fine, okay, whatever. I'll go blow it up. In the door we go.
More super weapons. Meanwhile, on the Imperial side, Darth Malgus, if you decide to play this on the flip side, gives us a call, and he actually tells us exactly what Hammer Station is, which I didn't get to experience because me and Mal played Republic side, but Mal was so nice, jumped over Imperial side as well, and got us a scoop. He told us that Hammer Station was designed by the Republic, and it was built to propel asteroids into planets. But then the Republic decided that might not be a good idea due to, I don't know, a lot of collateral damage.
Fucking yikes, Republic. Good lord. So at this point, you actually don't know who Darth Malgus is. And there's an option in this conversation to say, hold up, dude, you keep calling me up, making requests like I'm your own personal strike team, and I don't even know who you are. And he says, I am Darth Malgus.
Oh, wait, can I do this part?
I fought in the Battle of Korriban. I turned the Jedi Temple on Coruscant to rubble. And you're going, oh, you're that Darth Malgus. Go on.
Did he turn it to rubble by hand, or did he use a giant propelling station?
He used force from his hands. You caught these hands of Darth Malgus. Slap, slap. Go on.
So then he tells you the Thevos Hegemony has the station. You ask, how'd they get it? And he says he really doesn't know. He then tells you to go blow up Hammer Station because he's angry that someone, not the Imperials, have captured it.
And there's no option here to say, hey, why don't we just capture the station?
Why not?
I don't know why. So then he asks us to find out how they acquired Hammer Station, but that's also confusing because who cares? But anyway, then the
They left the
Flashpoint...
keys under the mat.
Yeah, I guess so. Under that the turtle rock. Anyway, the Flashpoint then kicks off. Oh, I did want to bring up here in a lot of these older vanilla flashpoints, you're given skips. If you have the right gathering
Yay,
skills,
crew
you
skills.
are rewarded. You are rewarded. You can use scavenging in here to activate a drill to give you a skip. And later you can use slicing to hack an elevator. And it's really kind of neat and immersive in a way that you see this throughout the older flashpoints of these things you can collect in here.
Right, I like the
So
immersive factor that you're mentioning. So you do crafting, and crafting should matter out in the open world. If you know how to scavenge something, you should be able to use that apart from just being a part of the in-game economy, you know?
right.
And all of these flashpoints that we're going to talk about for the next little while have something or other along these lines, and they're very fun to find. And I also like the social aspect. So you'll be standing there with a group of 4 friends going, can anyone click this? No. Or you'll have your friend who's like, I have scavenging and slicing, and they're like sprinting at full max speed to those little nodes because they're so excited they can provide for the team.
She just did the cutest little excited
I was
running dance from her chair. I just loved it. You guys are really missing out. So, the first fight in this is a droid that ticks a nasty dot on you up to 10 stacks. What a great one to reflect.
Yeah, that was
if
fun.
you are on a jug.
Mal was on a character who could do this, and she's like, just let me have the boss. I don't care you're a tank, just let me have the boss. And I was watching her like reflecting all the damage back, and I was like, oh, that sucker died fast.
Yeah. So, in harder modes, it's definitely something you have to cleanse when that reflect wears off if you've got too many stacks.
So after that, you fight a trio of baddies. You got a droid, a medic, and Colonel Vorgath. And I remember back in the day, there used to be a whole, you should fight this guy first, and then that guy first, and then that guy next, and that guy last. And now you can still do that. It'll go better, but if you don't, whatever. Veteran modes really become more accessible over the years. And after that, you get the infamous light side, dark side choice that every early Flashpoint seems to have.
Mm-hmm.
So at the console, you can choose to disable or overload a power conduit. If you just disable it, it's a distraction. If you overload it, it's a bigger distraction. But it, kills the engineers.
If you pick dark side here, you watch droids come and shoot the Advos engineers in cold blood. Like they just mow them down. It is very harsh. This choice is actually the same, Republic or Imperial side.
Right. It's a very clear choice of, do you think engineers are considered combatants? Are they just as culpable as the person who actually took over the station? Yes or no? Pew pew is more efficient, though.
Yeah, interesting. Oh, and then, in between this and the last boss, there's that bridge.
The bridge!
That bridge that disappears. That throws people for a loop.
Yes, with the giant floating turds.
Don't get caught when the bridge disappears, or I believe they are asteroids, will whoosh through and destroy
Blast
your
you
body.
away. Yeah. You get to test out that new technology for the Republic. Real nice of you.
So when we get to the last boss, what does he like to tell us?
Your weakness is in your blood! And he screams that about 5,000 times over.
It's the Battle Lord Corrussion. These bosses have amazing one-liners. I really love them.
Wait, I need to interrupt you. I have something important. Your weakness is in your blood!
Holy shit. I love them, though. I love them. Like, everybody's committed in these old flashpoints. I just love it's like the henchmen. They are so committed. And so we blow up the thing and go back to the fleet to tell Satele about it. I suggest we wipe out the Advos hegemony. And she's like, no thanks.
No, we just wanted the giant asteroid planet destroying thing not in Darth Malgus' hands. So its autopilot was apparently set to fly the station into a star, but it didn't. I guess nobody bothered to check if this very dangerous superweapon actually was destroyed. I asked and was told the ship drifted beyond their sensors by Satele Shan, but not the Advos' sensors. Apparently, Republic, come on.
Way to go, Republic. Someone will not be passing their audit this year. So, on the Imperial side, we report back to Darth Malgus, who tells us that the Supreme War Master of the Advos hegemony is giving up his life valiantly to appease the Empire for his people's misdeeds.
Oof.
Oh, that's just so nice of him. Hey, and then you can suggest either wiping them out or having them join you. And Darth Malgus goes, I will consider it.
Wait, what happens if you choose wipe them out?
I didn't choose
Is
that
Malgus
one.
just like, let me go rebuild that station and aim the asteroid chucker at...
I don't know. I didn't pick that one. So somebody pick that one and then tell us what he says. Darth, this is an interesting thread. This is an interesting thread for Darth Malgus, and it is a consistent thread that we will see in other Flashpoints. He is much more tolerant of alien species than any other Sith you ever encounter.
Love it. Key Malgus.
For all his faults, he's not a speciesist.
Meanwhile, Imperial intelligence has hacked these stations' data. You can find out that the Republic was supposed to destroy the station, but we all know how that went. They didn't pass their audit. Apparently, the Empire is now going to capture the station instead of destroying it and fix it up. Darth Malgus then says the Republic is incompetent, true, and that there's a lesson to be learned. Steal stuff from the Republic and keep it. That's a good lesson.
Burn! You can then say, our enemies are fools. Mwahaha. Darth Malgus then sends us off, and he's like, yeah, I might call you again. We'll see.
So call me maybe.
So that's it for Hammer Station.
And we will not be spamming it.
You know, when we tell it, it actually sounds more exciting than when you're actually there doing it for some reason.
There's a lot going on. It helps having both Imperial and Republic side at once. That's a neat little bit of lore that I wouldn't have probably seen otherwise. I don't think I've ever run it Imperial side off the top of my head, because when I spam stuff, I just do it on my main character.
Well, I mean, you know, maybe next time we'll give the Imperial side a whirl when we do Trash Point Tuesday. We'll see. But for now, I want you to tell me the news. You heard it here last.
If you're listening to this podcast, when it was first released, the Nar Shaddaa Nightlife is still running strong until September 13th, so go get your chips in before the event retires. The Relics of the Gree Event will be coming September 6th through September 13th, and the Pirate Dantooine Incursion Event will be running September 20th through September 27th. We also got some news that update 7.1.1 is, we don't really have a date or anything like that, but it is planned and in the works, and that should include Galactic Seasons 3, as well as some major changes to class balancing.
Have you read those changes?
I looked through them all, but I'm not the kind of person who would know what they mean. I do know that they were closing the gaps between the DPS, and I thought that meant that they would be raising all the ones that suck. But no, they're bringing some of them down, and they're fixing our favorite Bushwhack healer. No, JK. They're fixing Operative healer, so it's no longer OP, but they're doing some interesting things across the board that I'm not seeing everyone in the community agreeing with.
I really do not like it. I might actually have to go post on the forum.
Do it!
Which is something I don't think I've ever done.
Do it!
Because I don't understand the logic here.
Right, so this will not be on the test server, so if you want to provide feedback, and this is hitting almost every class, so if you play it in any way, shape, or form at a higher level, you will want to go read these and give feedback on the forums, as there won't be a test server around.
All of the 3 healers, they're doing changes to. They're changing lightning. That really hits me. I changed to balance madness for a lot of things, but lightning still had really good burst, and they're essentially just fucking demolishing that, and I can't understand why, because it's not overperforming.
Right, there were some
now.
classes that were very clearly ahead of the pack, and I was surprised that it wasn't just those. I keep expecting them to just give those a shove down the line and then pull up the ladder those who are most behind for numbers, but I guess not.
I'll have to look again, but I think that the only clears on hard mode Dominique are with all PTs.
I have a strong suspicion they're going to nerf both story mode and hard mode R4 as part of these changes
said,
too.
But I
know they haven't
fucking
said they
ridiculous.
have to, though, or no one's going to be able to pass it. Sorry.
I pay for this
breaths.
game, and I want to play what I want to play. I don't want to have to tell people I can't bring you. You have to play a PT.
Right.
That's so fucking stupid.
I felt so happy during the 6.0 era when I could tell people very confidently that, yes, some classes are better than others, but all are roughly on par. Play what you want. Now I can't.
And they're changing Sage heals, like they're giving them like a little buff. They're buffing a skill in the tree that I don't think anybody even uses.
Well, now you can use it.
It's crazy.
You got a buff.
No, it's not good. I've heard maybe it's good in some ranked PvP, but this is like, I don't know. Every time they do something, people get unhappier and unhappier, and I just can't understand it. Like, I can't understand why they can't look at Parsley like all the rest of us and see what classes are clearing this. because they're not touching those classes.
It's true.
They ain't nerfing sense. They nerfing the PT class that people don't even... Oh my god, I can't. Oh, my head.
Me and Mal are going to QQ our way out of this episode. Thanks for joining us to talk about the music of the Old Republic, as well as a little bit of hammering station.
Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
You've been listening to the Starforge podcast with Scya and Mal. We know you have your choice of podcasts, and you chose the right one. New episodes drop every Friday on Google and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Swtorista's YouTube channel, and just about every other podcast platform in existence. For show notes, pictures, and other information, visit starforgepodcast.com. Hit us up on Twitter at StarforgeCast. We love hearing from you. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you all next week. Oh, you wrote our weakness is in our blood, but it's your weakness is in our blood. What? No, what did you write? Mal, have you not repeated this 1,000 times?
I took it from your notes.
Oh, well.
Maybe it was a typo.
Sorry.